I think I'm running here. So what we're going to do is an amateur review of the literature, as it were, for the effects of Reiki. So we're going to go to PubMed. Here we go. Sorry, I forgot what it was. PubMed something. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just look up Reiki, a very general search. And now we're going to take a look at whether or not peer-reviewed journals have published articles, have published research, have published #science, in which Reiki has been shown to be effective, and how many of them have been saying that it's not effective. And one thing to bear in mind right now, before we even get started, is something that's called the publication bias, whereby journals who are trying to make a living, like they publish physical journals, tend to be biased toward publishing articles that find positive results. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, if you're a researcher and you want to ask the question of, let's say, we'll take Reiki for example. Is Reiki effective? Okay, and then you set out to answer that question. You set up an experimental design. Now, if you find the answer is no, it's not a very exciting result, and the journal will be less likely to publish it than if you find the answer is yes. So this is not just the case with Reiki, it's the case with everything across science in general, and the way that our peer review process works is far from perfect, and that's one of its main weaknesses. In my opinion, I think they should have just a digital-only version of their publication wherein they publish all the negative results that they're not super interested in, but are nevertheless valid endeavors. But bear in mind that as we move forward here. Okay, so we're going to just see any that have Reiki in the actual title. Okay, effects of Reiki on pain, anxiety, and blood pressure in patients undergoing knee replacement. This is cool. We have not only these psychological constructs of pain and anxiety, but we also have blood pressure, which I suppose could be correlated with anxiety and such. But this could be interesting. And we have, where's the first one? Massage and Reiki used to reduce stress and anxiety. Randomized clinical trial. Did I miss the first instance of Reiki? Oh, okay, my search. Okay, so let's start. You know what? Let's open up a text edit file to keep track. All right, so this is our first one. Okay, so this is published, 2017, and what is this? What is this? I was hoping that would take me to the journal, to what journal it is. Instead it's taking me to another instance of the same abstract. I just want to see what journal we're looking at, because some of them are a little more renowned than others. Holistic nursing practices, maybe? I don't know. So that's a little, biased already. They're interested in, and not only do they have, the publication bias of positive results, but they're obviously interested in holistic nursing practices to begin with. But anyway, we have these 5 researchers here. This blinded, okay, cool. How would they blind Reiki? So if you're not familiar with the concept of blinding, this is single blinded, not double blinded. So the experimenters probably know, but the people receiving Reiki shouldn't know if they're receiving Reiki or not. So there's a control study, so there are people receiving it and not, and then those who are receiving it, since it's blinded, should not know. So this is cool. This is a good one to start out with. 46 patients, it's not thousands, but it's a solid number. It's worth looking into. Undergoing knee replacement surgery. Of the 3 groups, Reiki, oh cool, sham Reiki, and standard of care. Only the Reiki group showed significant reductions in pain, blood pressure, respiration rate, and state anxiety, which provides evidence for a full-scale clinical study. Hot. Okay. Sweet. So this, to be honest, I've looked into Reiki before, and this is not the first time I've come across sham Reiki, and I'm super stoked that they're doing some of this. So this is how they blind it and set up their control. So the control would probably be, can I get a full text out of this? Ah! All right, let's see if this works. All right. So, yeah, looking like I'm not going to be able to get this. Yeah, I don't have this. So I'm just going to like randomly check online. There's no way this is going to come up. But just in case, we will see. Okay, so that's where we're at. Let's see what this is. Unbound Medicine. Let's see if any of these are full text. I'll get out of this. Because I want to see more. Oh, not going to work. I want to see a little bit more about how it's blinded, how these three groups are set up. Links, aggregator full text. What have we here? No! Alright. Rats. Okay, so, wait. Oh, this is the other one. Okay, so let's X out of this. This is the second one that we haven't looked into yet. Okay, so I'm just going to guess here, and this is a terrible way to go about doing this, but it's the best we've got. They have three groups, okay? Reiki, people, Reiki, just to give you a little bit of info on what it is. It was some Japanese dude, once upon a time, forever ago, I think BC, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was before Christ, sort of like put together the idea of universal life force, of like energy, okay? It's just like the super most generic, Reiki practitioners and Reiki folks and Reiki theoreticians, or whatever, refer to the universe, not necessarily as this like physical thing in my understanding, but just sort of like all that is. And so it's this life force that allegedly, in their opinions, and to be honest, in mine as well, comes just from whatever, like the highest source. Okay, and so this like stuff that you can sort of channel and give it to people. And you have to be trained to actually be a Reiki practitioner. So the sham Reiki, which is why I'm super stoked about finding this first, is a way not to just like control for like having it or not having it, but also having the placebo, right? So someone's told they're getting Reiki, and they're either getting Reiki for real by like a legit practitioner, or they're just told they're getting Reiki, okay? Because Reiki does not need to be performed in person. So I wish I knew if this was in person or remotely. So if it were in person, sham Reiki would probably be delivered by someone who doesn't know what they're doing and isn't really actually trying to do anything. So our first hit here, I'm just going to go onto our text edit file. Positive. Okay, we have this. I'm just going to say three groups. Reiki, sham Reiki, and control. 46 peeps. Actual Reiki was only group wherein positive help stuffs were found. Okay, so we're gonna go like woo-hoo-hoo. Alright, so this is our first hit. So just like let's take a time out here, okay? I know this is fucking hocus pocus AF, but like this is real, right? I mean, if you want to be open and like an empiricist, if you want to be a good empiricist, right? If you want to be super hardcore reasonable and like into science and such, you can't be dogmatically opposed to hocus pocus, right? You have to be open to the idea that it's possible. And when science and evidence suggests that it's really happening, you have to like grant that maybe it's fucking, no, maybe it's happening, right? So thus far, first one is positive. Let's move on. Massage and Reiki used to reduce, here we have a lot more to work with, reduce stress and anxiety. Randomized clinical trial. Okay, let's go to methods and see, okay, in parallel, so it looks like two groups, 122 people, three groups, massage and rest, massage and Reiki, and a control group without intervention. So, I mean, I guess you could ask the question of whether or not rest versus Reiki is fair, but I mean, what else? That seems like pretty reasonable. But see, they don't say how they control for the placebo here. Objective, to evaluate the effectiveness of massage and Reiki in the reduction of stress and anxiety in clients at the Institute for Integrated and Oriental Therapy in Sao Paulo. It doesn't look like they use a placebo sort of control here. So you only have people getting massage and rest, massage and Reiki, and then nothing. But, here massage and Reiki produced better results amongst the groups, and the conclusion is for further studies to be done with the use of a placebo group to evaluate the impact of the technique separate from other techniques. Okay, so our second result, not like hyper interesting because there's no control for placebo, but we're still putting it within positive, and we have 122 some odd peeps. I forget if that was accurate. We had 3 groups, no placebo taken, because I don't want to use the word control. So no accounting for potential, well, not potential, because placebo effect's going to work no matter what. No accounting for a placebo effect. Okay? So, out of our first page of hits, both yielded positive results. We have a theme in the works. Okay, page 1 of 129. Let's see how far we go. There's got to be some negative ones. I know there's some negative ones. Okay, so Control F, Reiki. So that's the top one, so we're not going to get confused. Effects of Reiki on pain and vital signs, cool, when applied to the incision area of the body after C-section surgery. A single-blinded, randomized, double-controlled study. Hell yes, we got the single-blinded. So again, this means that the experimenters and the Reiki practitioners, know. Well, I guess since you have a Reiki practitioner, they're going to know either way. But the experimenters know who's getting what. But the single-blind means that the recipients don't know if they're getting actual Reiki or not. So we'll see how they do that. Oh, cool. All right, so this study was conducted to determine the effects of Reiki, holistic nursing practices again, and vital signs. But still, like, they're not going to be making shit up outright. Okay, like we would be finding also, we did a super general search of just Reiki, right? We would also be finding like the words, sham or like hoax. They do publish things when you debunk stuff. That's like a positive result. If you want to say like this thing that other researchers have found to be the case is in fact not the case, here's us showing that it's not. That's kind of a hot topic. That'll get published. So anyway, this is our third thing that we're finding. Okay. The effects of Reiki on pain and vital signs when applied for 15 minutes to the incision area of the body after C-section surgery. And if you're still hanging on listening, thanks. I know this is like dense and like kind of boring, but isn't it freaking exciting though? We're talking about freaking like energy stuff. We're talking about hashtag magic here, okay? Like this shit is real, right? Well, thus far. It's based on what we've seen thus far. All right, single-minded, randomized, and double control. Yes, they did sham Reiki again. Hell yes. So again, they don't say this is like a new thing. The sham Reiki thing. This is recent. Fuck yes, they're like this is popping. Okay, and control groups. 45 patients, equalized by age and number of births, were randomly assigned to the Reiki, sham Reiki, and control groups 48 hours after the operation. Within 4 to 8 hours of the application of standard analgesics, so like pain stuffs. To alleviate pain. The study data were collected using a patient follow-up form and a visual analog scale. Mean, meaning average, visual analog scale measurement values were significantly different from each other according to groups and times. Reduction in pain of 76% was determined in the Reiki group patients between day 1 pre-treatment and after application on the second day. Day 2 post-treatment, I think TX is treatment, measurements. So 76% between day 1 pre-treatment and after application. So right before the treatment, and then on the second day of after treatment, day 2 post-treatment. I'm not sure if this is like the second day after treatment or like 2 days after treatment. But regardless, within that time, the measurements for the Reiki group, actual Reiki, was 76%. Mean breathing rate, etc., etc., etc. The Reiki group was observed to use fewer analgesics throughout the study and to need them after a longer time than the sham Reiki group. I think they misworded that. The Reiki group was observed to use fewer pain meds, throughout the study. I guess they mean and to need them fewer. I think they misworded this, and to need them after a longer time, and to not, and to edit, N-O-T, need them after a longer time than the sham Reiki, and to need them for less time is what I believe they mean, because they're saying had the expected effects on pain and the need for use of analgesics, but it had no effects on vital signs. So yeah, they're saying we had positive results here. They don't say what the percent reduction in pain was for the non-Reiki group, for sham Reiki. Can I get full text out of this? No, same thing. Okay, so we don't have as much info as we want, which is kind of annoying, right? I mean, we would want to see, so this is like before treatment to after treatment within this group of time. What was their reduction in pain? Well, these other groups had either sham Reiki and analgesics or just analgesics, so they would also have a reduction in pain. Fewer analgesics in the Reiki group, and then this fucked up wording. They misworded this, because clearly they're saying the Reiki group worked, but here, literally, if we read this verbatim, the Reiki group was observed. Okay, then we ignore this, and to need the analgesics after a longer time than the sham Reiki and control groups. Yeah, so wow, this is annoying. Leads me to question this. I've seen bad editing in journals in general, so this is not unique. I've seen, really renowned journal articles that have misprints and such. But what they mean is that you don't need analgesics as long, because they say it worked. Oh, well. Oh, man, that's so bad. Okay, so number 3. I need to get. So I'm going to stop doing the whole thing. So we're still in positive results here. Let's just do like a little boop, 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 boop. And I want to copy you, but then I lose the other thing I've copied. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, how do I want to do it like that, or like this? So this was the first one. So you know what, I'm just going to go like this, and then we're going to go like swoop. I'm going to lose the little parenthesis there. One, boop, boop. Okay, this looks a little cleaner. So first one, second one, third one, no negative yet. Okay, so then, all right, if you're still with me, cool. Massage and Reiki used to reduce stress and anxiety. Isn't this the one we just looked at? I think so. Unless it's like super similar. Here we go. The gift of the application of Reiki therapy in cancer patients. Okay, so this is obviously a positive result. We're just going to gloss by if it's the same journal. Okay, what is this? Rev Enferm. Revista de Enfermería. Review of medicine? Infirmary? Okay, so, well, have any of these been published in the U.S.? What was the second? I think that was Barcelona, right? I just want to see where this journal is based out of real quick, just for fun. What is this? Holistic nursing practice. Okay, so we can't see where it's from. All right, anyway, we were pretty close. We thought holistic nursing practices. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take a time out and say, this is like obviously positive, right? This is like a fourth positive. You're starting to get the idea here. That was the gift one, so okay, let's just so keeping track. In positive we had 4. We should really make sure at least that they said positive results before we just take the title of the article. After a literature, review of the literature. Insufficient evidence on the effect. I'm glad we looked at this. Okay, hold on a second. Pain is one of the most feared symptoms of cancer. Why would they call it the gift? All right, bad pain not properly relieved contributes to the suffering of the patient and family. This is blah 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 blah. Currently, the authors explore the evidence on the effectiveness of Reiki in relation to cancer pain and symptom control. Due to the increased interest deposited in Reiki by health professionals, especially for oncology professionals, to relieve the symptoms of cancer, there has been a synthesis of recent studies to provide the evidence so far. After our literature review, we can conclude that there is insufficient evidence on the effectiveness of Reiki in relieving the cancer's symptoms due to the small sample size used, the paucity of studies, and the abandonment of the study participant and others. Okay, so they're not saying that they found studies where it didn't work. This is like insufficient evidence. Small sample size, bro. Paucity of the studies, I'm pretty sure that means like not a lot of studies. I should know what that word means. Paucity. I'm sure it's going to be like not enough studies. There's like, a dearth of studies. Paucity. The presence of something only in smaller, insufficient quantities. Okay. So, too small sample size, not enough studies, and the abandonment of the study participants and others. Yeah, well, that would be pretty specific. You would like mention that if the study participants abandoned it. June 2016. Okay, so here this isn't really a negative. This is like insufficient for saying it's positive. They're just saying like, we're not convinced. Insufficient evidence. We're not saying like, we saw studies where it didn't have an effect. They clearly didn't say that we found. So here's one thing I gotta bear in mind. There are always negative Nancy's in science, right? Like if they could, you could tell by reading this, like Sanchez Dominguez J is like not down with the Reiki thing, right? And if he could, he would say, I would think, although the title of the article kind of throws me off here, I would think that if he found articles published wherein there was not noted help from Reiki, he would also mention that here. After our literature review, blah, 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 we can conclude that there is insufficient evidence on the effectiveness of Reiki. The first thing would be because we found studies that didn't find effectiveness of Reiki, right? Like, that's not in his stuff. So I refuse to count this as negative because he's not saying we found stuff where it didn't help. So thank God we didn't put that as positive. That's hella not positive. Okay, so negative. Alright, that's so biased. No, we'll just call it insufficient. Because, like, bear in mind, the scientific community is, like, super skeptical by practice. Okay, like, that's their thing. And so this is good. He's saying, like, because we saw a study with 46, one with 122, but that one didn't have the placebo, the sham Reiki. This is the third one, had the other sham Reiki. How many people did this have? 3 groups. Did it not say? 45 patients. Okay, so let's say 45 peeps accounting for placebo. Woohoo! Give it 3 stars. But yeah, so fair. Sanchez Dominguez. Fair enough. But that is not presence of a negative. That's just saying there's insufficient presence of positive. Okay, so here we go. So much for taking it. You know what? Perceived relaxation as a function of restorative yoga combined. I feel like, how many people are still going to be watching at this point? Like, shouldn't we be convinced at this point? Like, the guy who did the review of the literature didn't say that he didn't found anything where it wasn't effective. As a function of restorative yoga combined with Reiki. This doesn't look super interesting. Perceived relaxation. I mean, I guess, sure, you want to relax, right? But let's look for something a little more exciting here. Oh, that's all for that page. I mean, it helps you relax. That's cool. But I mean, conclusions, clinical implications suggest that patients should be screened and treated for trauma-like symptoms, including intrusive thoughts. Doesn't... showed that Reiki subjects experienced greater perceived depth of relaxation than subjects who were not offered the Reiki intervention. Non-Reiki participants also showed more difficulty overcoming intrusive, fearful thoughts than the Reiki group. I shouldn't be a negative Nancy about this. Psychological stuff is a big deal. Complementary therapies and clinical practice. Okay, so this Okay, so let's take a look at this. 26 cancer survivor. Oh shit. 26 cancer survivor volunteers participated in a study of the efficacy of perceived relaxation. So you're like self-reports of relaxation after performing restorative yoga combined with Reiki. So it looks like they don't have. Oh. Although this is like the least interesting one because it's one of the ones that they don't have any way to account for the placebo with sham Reiki. So it showed positive. If you had the Reiki, you wound down. And we're better at overcoming intrusive, fearful thoughts. So that's cool. It counts for something, because even with the placebo, like when you go receive Reiki, the placebo is part of it, right? Like, obviously you want to control for placebo, but the one that we get the full text for, it's not really. All right, so we're just going to count it. I'm trying to skim to find a... Okay, so this is for positive. I'm not even going to get an ASD here. I want to find a bigger one. To be fair, you gotta get... It's hard to, have I already been through everyone? Yoga, massage, and Reiki on patient well-being, Cancer Resource Center. Ooh! Clinical Journal of Oncological Nursing or something? That's a new journal. Effects of Reiki with music compared to music only among people living with HIV. Ooh. That's intense. Okay. An exploratory study of Reiki experiences in women who have cancer. Okay. Persons living with HIV often seek complementary treatments to improve their overall health and well-being. Reiki, an ancient healing practice, has been found to be effective in reducing symptoms of stress, anxiety, pain, and depression. The purpose of this pilot study was to evaluate the effectiveness of Reiki as a complementary treatment for PLWH. I should know what that means. What is this? The Journal of the Association of Nurses in AIDS Care. That sounds legit. Then we have a full text. Or did I need to log into that? Okay, using a 2-group mixed methods experimental design. 37 participants were randomized to either a 6-week Reiki with music group or a music-only group. Again, you don't control for placebo. Again, the people with music group think they're just having music, right? And the people with music and Reiki know that they're getting this thing, Reiki, whatever that is to them. They're like, all right, we'll see if that works, Placebo's a really big deal. Self-reported and physiologic measures were obtained at baseline. RMG versus MOG. RMG, they're saying that you have significant improvements in relief of pain and stress in those receiving RMG. I think that's Reiki Music Group. Yeah, so it's intense and it's awesome. Just in terms of being hyper skeptical, we want the placebo to have been controlled for. And this notion of performing sham Reiki, to be fair to these researchers, seems to be a relatively new phenomenon in the push to research Reiki and the effects of Reiki, and to bring it into the world of science and empiricism and widely accepted, legit medicine stuffs. So unfortunately, we can cross this into our positive, and there's a freaking thread here. You got that one guy being all negative Nancy, but I haven't found a single thing saying no, didn't work. You can find energy stuffs. This is crucial. You can't just look up. Someone invented this thing called healing touch. That was found to not be helpful. Reiki is its own thing. There's this intention. There's a conceptualization and training involved with it. So I want to get really more into that, but without a placebo controlled for it, it's without the placebo accounted for, it's hard to really get super excited about at this point. Let's just say, oh, interesting. I don't know how I got that. Methods. Experimental design. Okay. Again, no placebo. 150 patients, yoga, massage, or Reiki. All three services help decrease stress and anxiety, improve mood, and enhance cancer center patrons' perceived overall health and quality of life in a similar manner. Oh, Reiki reduced the pain of patients with cancer to a greater extent than either massage or yoga. Holy fuck, this is big. Okay, so you don't have a placebo for massage or for yoga. You know you're getting freaking massage and you know you're getting freaking yoga. So in this specific question of like Reiki versus massage versus yoga, and I hate to say versus because it's not about that. You could be doing all three of these things. But in the relative efficacy, Reiki compared to massage or yoga, in all three of these cases, you don't have the placebo. So this counts bigly big. We had 150 patients, so I'm guessing like 150. I'm guessing 50 of them were getting Reiki. We're on number 6 now. Again, not finding any negative results here, folks. If you want to be a good empiricist and a good skeptic, you can't just be all negative Nancy and dogmatically opposed to super cool ideas, even if they sound like freaking hocus pocus. So here is a big one. This is big. I'm gonna like paste this because this is kind of huge for me. I did not. What? I failed to copy. Failed to copy. Highlight but did not copy. Okay. This is bigly for me. This is new. I did not know this. Reiki reduced the pain of patients with cancer to a greater extent than either massage or yoga. That's huge. I'm going to just read that for yourself right there. More effective than massage or yoga for reducing pain. And enhance cancer center patrons' perceived overall health. Cool. Very cool. So I'm just going to copy methods. I'm guessing here, since there's 150 and 3 groups, that 50 of them received Reiki. I might as well say this now because that just changed a lot. Rename. We're going to save it to the desktop for now. Reiki amateur lip review on vid. Yo. Okay. And then I kind of want to... No, that's fair enough. So that's huge for me. I can't... So I feel bad that we couldn't really sink our teeth into the HIV one more because that's so big. That is really helpful for them compared to just the music alone. But it's just like it wasn't an... Okay, so an exploratory study of the Reiki experiences in women who have cancer. Seemed a little non-specific. Nothing against women who have cancer. Reiki for cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy in a Brazilian hospital. Oh, there's holistic nursing practices again. I mean, they're probably going to say it's positive effects, right? Reiki practice delivered as part of the integrated period did produce clinically significant effects, although not statistically significant results. So clinically significant effects, but after applying #statistics with only 36 patients, well, they're like, hey, this is helpful. The stats didn't say it was big enough to be counted for more than half the patients undergoing cancer treatment. So we count this as neutral, insufficient. I mean, clinically positive results is cool, but if we're trying to do all super, empirical about it, we got to go with that. Although not statistically significant results. We want a big study with sham Reiki to control for placebo is what we want. Reiki experience aims. Identify outcome measures for an intervention study. Ooh, this might be, general might be good. This might be like trying to help with cancer. 10 women who who had received Reiki after cancer treatment was conducted. Interviews were audio taped. Results. Key themes identified were limited understanding of Reiki, release of emotional strain during... Oh, so this is not like a stats-based study. This is like what happened. Release of emotional strain during Reiki, feelings of release of energy, a clearing of the mind from cancer. Ooh, a clearing of the mind from cancer. Inner peace / relaxation. Hope. Ooh, that's cool. A sense of being cared for. Experience of physical sensations during Reiki, such as pain relief and tingling. Physical... Okay, suggests that Reiki could be a beneficial tool in the self-management of quality of life issues for women who have cancer. Okay, so this, honestly, I would put this in insufficient, but it's definitely not negative. I mean, they'd be like, why are you putting this in insufficient? This should be in positive. We're saying it's helpful. I mean, to be fair, number 2 was like, yeah, it's helpful, but not statistically significant. So it's kind of like unfair to what they're trying to say. I shouldn't be hyper negative, should I? No, that's just dumb. That's just like dumb. They're all about it. They're saying it's, what did that last one say? The one that we poo-poo because it wasn't statistically significant, other than them saying that it was clinically positive. What did they say? Were they all like, this is something we want to look into more? Yeah, they don't say, like, moving forward that this is something that warrants more looking into to get the vibe of, like, what they're feeling about it. So, I don't know. It's not really important whether or not we put that in our little category of positive or insufficient, because they're clinically positive but statistically insignificant. And thus far, we haven't found anything negative where it's like, for the sake of whateverness, that last one... This is, this one was, 10 women with Reiki audio taped, Reiki post, cancer treatment, hope, etc. Good stuffs. And they were like, warrants looking into for the future. La la la. Okay, and then this other one that I am ultimately deciding to put in insufficient was the one where they're like clinically positive but statistically insignificant. I'm gonna save that because they were doing a statistical study. Okay, so we're gonna count it. So we have 7 positive, 2 insufficient, and no negative. Are we getting a theme yet? I hope we are. And my computer is going to need a battery. Alright, I'm going to plug my computer in, and I don't know. I really want to find like a negative one to see like some grumpy old negative Nancy being like, we did not find anything. Reiki, we got 2 on this page. Holistic nursing, Reiki, and the Kental art of beekeeping? Hello! Beekeeping! Yes! Hashtag Bumblebee. Reiki therapy for symptom management in children receiving palliative care. Interesting. Wow, okay, so pain may be reported in 1/2 to 3/4 of children with cancer and other terminal conditions, and anxiety in about 1/3 of them. Pharmacologic methods do not always give satisfactory symptom relief. Complementary therapies such as Reiki may help children manage symptoms. Let's skip forward to methods. Convenience sample of children ages 7 to 16 and their parents were recruited. 2 24-minute Reiki sessions were completed at the children's home. Paired T-test. So yeah, they do lots of stats, but they don't have a way to control for placebo. They don't have a way to take placebo into account. They don't do sham Reiki for one of the groups. Results. All mean scores for outcome variables decreased from pre to post treatment for both sessions. Significant. Oh, they don't even have a control group. They just go. Yeah, that'd be kind of fucked up to go to like a children's home and like do nothing when they're like dying and say, oh well, I guess doing nothing didn't help. Sometimes you don't do control groups. Sometimes you just show up and try to help. Significant decreases for pain for treatment, 1 in nonverbal children, and for respiratory rate for treatment, 2 in verbal children. Cohen D effect sizes, I forget what that means, was medium to large for most outcome measures. So you're showing up to kids' homes who are dying and performing Reiki, and it helps. And while there's no big hand waving with doing it blind and controlling for placebo, I'm marking it. Terminal kids help stuffs from Reiki. No control, no accounting or placebo, just help. Whoops. I botched all these things. So this went for 7. And then this one, I'm pretty sure. Whoops! Oh no! Reiki reduced the pain of patients with cancer. This was the big one that I did double on. That was probably 6. It's opening Avery. Sorry. Okay, try again while it opens Avery. Okay, I'm guessing this was 6. Can we quit yet? Let's try. Cool, that was easier than I was fearing it might be. Okay, so here we go. Well, is this the one with 150 people? Where, yes. Just want to... Yes. Greater extent than other massage or yoga. Okay. And that was right there. Okay, let's resave that. Terminal kids. Oof. Kind of intense. Hello! Beekeeping! Solid write-up, bro. Beginnings. Alright, well, we could put that in insufficient if we really wanted to. Or we could just let it sit there and move on. Are we getting the theme yet? So, if you're still listening, I mean, come on, right? Seriously, you want to be skeptical. You want to look for evidence-based stuff before you adopt new beliefs, especially when they're beliefs about spirituality and just energy work. The concept of energy work, of healing people without touching them, like laying on hands but not even necessarily physically touching them, and it actually having a concrete impact. Like more so than massage or yoga. That's super trippy, and you want to be skeptical. You want to have your empirical defenses up, but when you're presented with what we've been presenting you with, at what point do you let go? At this point, it feels like, yeah, you've got this one guy, the one that was actually saying, you know, we found that it was insufficient. I mean, like, look at this thing. Mr. Dominguez is like, yeah, because they didn't have big enough sample sizes. There weren't enough people participating, right? There aren't enough studies. And, like, people just abandon the study. Like, who are these people abandoning? What studies are you reading, mister? Like, the abandonment of the study participants? Like, come on. Do you mean it's, like, not an ongoing, like, long-term thing where you check back in with them? Whatever. Like, sure, that's interesting, but that doesn't diminish the findings that you do have in the short term. Like, at what point do you let go and decide to adopt the belief that Reiki is real and Reiki is helpful? That Reiki is something we should be teaching our freaking kids in public schools, in my opinion. Like, holy shit, that'd be cool. Someone gets super fucked up and, like, the whole crew of friends knows how to do Reiki. Like, personally, I'm just going, like, personal experience for a second. Reiki's been tremendously helpful for me. Very concretely, not just about pain relief, but, like, big helpful stuff. I'm not going to get into it too much, but just one thing that happened along the way, in addition to having a couple friends who are super benevolent and kind and generous enough to continue to give me ongoing once a week Reiki sessions. I actually have 6 people, 2 actual, like, legit formal Reiki, 2 more intuitive, sort of self-taught, somewhat influenced by Reiki, one of them, energy healing, one friend who does inter-universalism, whatever that is, and does Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then my good friend who does liberal Christian, like prayers to Jesus and God, but does it in a way that's like really genuine and intense and sincere, and with the absolute belief that it's going to work. And I can tell you that it's super helpful. But yeah, so that's me personally, after we've gotten to like through 10 studies here. But in terms of my idea of like, wouldn't it be cool to teach this to kids in school? Like, one experience I had was with this woman who had all the people that had graduated to Reiki level 2 in her sort of schooling, in her Secret Garden Reiki, I think was the name of it. Yeah. Level 2 is where you graduate to being able to do it not in person. Like, you could do it distance. They have like symbols and stuff, and in my understanding, my guess of why this could happen is like, there's just a sort of element of trust that the universe or what have you puts into that person to sort of like open up, in addition to the symbols that you learn, because I know that some intuitive people don't need these symbols, and people who pray don't need these symbols. You could pray from a distance, obviously. You could pray from a distance, obviously, is what I meant to say. So anyway, I got on her. She did a group list of. She had about 42 people at the time, and put me on it. And so dozens of people were hooking me up with Reiki for a few days. It was nuts. So if we all learn, it was absolutely nuts. It was ridiculous. Sorry, I'm rambling here, but if we had kids learning Reiki in school and something really bad happened to someone, yeah, they go to the doctor. They get the prescription meds. They do the physical therapy. Sure, but they also get hooked up with hella Reiki, and it's super effing legit. I kind of want to just hit 12. To reduce the weaning failure? I should know what the weaning failure is. This is bad. Effectiveness of implementing the Reiki method. LOL, the Reiki method. To reduce the weaning failure. I mean, I wish I knew specifically what the weaning failure was. I'm just going to... Weaning failure. Oh, this is so bad. Okay. Oh. Okay. You need to just breathe on your own. When you're born, you need to be able to breathe. Okay, so if you can't breathe, to pass a spontaneous breathing trial. Or if you need to be reintubated. So you got to be able to like hold your own. Fair enough. Okay. To reduce the weaning failure. Method. Randomized clinical trial. They don't say anything. How many people did we have? 256 patients. That's cool. Conclusion. Reiki reduces the agitation of patients. Decrease was objectively observed in the number of days of mechanical ventilation, length of stay. Oh, so these are freaking babies, so the placebo's got to be pretty low, right? Like, they're not going to be like, I'm receiving Reiki as I'm being intubated. It's like, obviously, the placebo is less of an issue here because it's a psychological placebo, right? It's just the idea of getting Reiki. So with 256 patients, innovation... Oh, placebo? What? How do they do placebo? All right, the intervention involves the application of Reiki and a simulated technique within the placebo group. Oh, yes! Holy shit, we have 256 patients. They're freaking babies, but they still get a placebo of someone going up and, like, who doesn't know how to do Reiki, who's not, like, quote, attuned, and, like, doesn't have this, like, thing going on, doing the exact same stuff, or more or less. So you got this freaking 0-year-old baby intubated, and if there's any chance of... Holy fuck, this is probably the most interesting one. If there's any chance of getting a placebo at that age, they're not getting it, because they're getting this person doing a simulated technique. Hell yes. An analysis... This is the big one. All right, an analysis was made of the absolute and relative frequencies with a significance level of blah, 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 blah. The percentage of failures at weaning was 9% in GI, intervention group, and 9.5% in placebo. What? That's not a big difference. Failure of weaning, 9% versus 9.5. MV, what's MV? Where's MV? mechanical ventilation. The number of days on... So this is like, in terms of absolute failure or not, this is not a big difference. This is only a 0.5% difference. The mean number of days, however, on mechanical ventilation was 8.85 if you got the intervention, right, GI intervention group, and 9.66 for the placebo. So you've got more, less than an entire day. But, mean dose of sedatives. Okay, but way less sedatives for this group. That's a big. So we got 1,078 versus 1,491. That's a big difference. So let's just do 1491 divided by 1078. I kind of want to do it on my calculator for real. Oh, good. I got rid of my calculator there anyway. I'm just going to grab my calculator real quick and see what percentage difference. It's like less than 50%. And so if we go by this, let's call this 1,000. Let's call this 1,500. That's close enough. That's a big difference. Holy shit. The dose of, holy cow, the haloperidol, I'm assuming that's a sedative. Let's just check real quick. I'm assuming it's a sedative because they were just talking about sedatives, but let's clarify. This is huge. This is 3 times difference, was it? 5.3 if they got the Reiki versus pretty much 3 times that. Yeah, over 3 times with just a placebo. Holy cats. Antipsychotic. Okay. Antipsychotic. So yeah, that counts as a sedative. Wow. That's bigly. Reiki reduces the agitation of patients being freaking intubated babies. A decrease was objectively observed in the number of days of mechanical ventilation. Granted, that decrease was slightly less than an entire day on average. But this is among 256 patients, so we're talking 125 some odd patients per group. Wow, this is awesome. So fuck this, what was his name? Sanchez guy? Was it Sanchez? Something like that. What was your name again, mister? Coming after you. Dominguez. Sorry. Oh, Sanchez Dominguez. Yeah. All right. So fuck this dude. I wish I remembered enough about stats to remember what all these p-values mean. But, dude, this is huge. You're talking about 125 or maybe 128 per group if they're divided evenly. 128 per group. Tiny little babies. I know I'm rambling, but this one is super exciting. I'm super excited. This freaking haloperidol, we're talking about 5.3 milligrams on average versus 16.1 milligrams on average for just the placebo. That's freaking huge. And granted, you're talking about doctors administering this, so they're not going to be biased. These aren't the experimenters administering this with a bias to make it smaller. You're talking about doctors giving babies what the doctors think the babies need to calm the F down while they're in intubation because they freaking failed weaning. 3 times difference, dude. All right, a decrease was blah blah blah. Length of stay, lower dose of sedatives, and a slight decrease in the weaning failure. Slight decrease. And again, that was only tiny. What was that? So yeah, 9% versus 9.5%. But the big one is it calmed him down. And to be fair, in my experience with energy work, you can't look for a miracle. You have to get past the idea that it's just this miraculous, wonderful, magical thing and say, okay, this is real. This operates within the confines of physics somehow, even though we don't necessarily understand it at present, with our science being what it is. And once you get past that, into the idea that Reiki is real, it's operating within reality, it's operating within physics, you have to look at what it's helpful for and not say it's not magic, because it's not magic, okay? It's real. So this idea that reducing the percentage of failures at weaning is only 0.5%. You gotta say, okay, well, it's not gonna concretely say, okay, this baby can just come out and breathe on its own. It's not that big of a difference, okay? You're talking about serious physical, chemical problems with the baby, serious bodily, physiological issues. And energy work alone is not enough to just fix it right then. How long did they get the Reiki? Method. It doesn't say there. It doesn't say. I really want a full text for this one. Please, please, please. I want to know how long they did the Reiki. So you're talking about these babies who were probably, if we had absolute precision, a day before the birth, could have guessed, if we had all the information and all the relevant knowledge, probably could have guessed that the baby was, and obviously this knowledge might not all be something that we can test for at present, but you would guess that if we had perfect knowledge and perfect understanding, we would guess that this baby is going to come out needing to be intubated, right? This looks like it might be in Spanish. Oh wait, it's available in English. I clicked the wrong link. No, take me back. Okay, thank you. Right, so the fact that there was any improvement there is kind of stunning for me. And this is just huge. You've got the actual placebo. Wow, this is freaking awesome. This, if you're still watching, like, come on, right? That's freaking bigly big. That's the bigliest big. Okay, so we've got 256 patients. It's hard to call these little babies. Like, were they given the Reiki before birth? I'm assuming. Reducing weaning failure. When are they given the Reiki? Uh-oh. So, we're talking about babies probably unborn and then also barely born. Hashtag babies. Okay, sorry. Okay, so you're talking 3 times less haloperidol. How do you spell that? Haloperidol. There's only one L. Aha! Almost had it. 3 times less haloperidol with GI. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna rock their little things versus placebo. So, what does G stand for? Where's the first time that the word G comes up? Intervention group. Okay, the group of intervention. Because there was originally in Spanish. They call it GI and they didn't switch it. It should be IG. It would be the El Grupo Intervención, or however you say it. Oh, I'm so bad. All right, so I'm going to say IG because that's what makes way more sense since we're doing English. Intervention group versus placebo group. Okay. 3 times less in the intervention group versus, I'm just going to write placebo group. Because whatever. After all that. Just writing it out. Okay, only 0.5% less likely to fail weaning. And then you had, I should really just be freaking pasting this entire thing. I really should. I'm just going to paste this entire thing because this one's freaking huge. No. This is going to ruin everything. I got the link. Okay. So we had slightly less. Okay, so average hospital stay, or was it intubation or hospital stay? No, mechanical ventilation. Average mechanical ventilation. What? You got it all big. That's annoying. Oh well, I really don't feel like fixing it. For IG, because it's the intervention group. Placebo group. Hashtag translation overlooked. Okay, so yeah, then we go down to insufficient. So we're at 9, right? We're almost at a dozen. This one's huge. I can't like overemphasize how big this is. For me, at least. I hope you're excited. And that was the Negative Nancy. I want to keep the Negative Nancy guy up anyway, just for fun. Okay, Reiki to relieve chronic pain. I mean, that's cool, but I kind of want more concrete stuff, like the last one with the babies and the freaking antispasmodics, or antipsychotics. That was super cool. Total knee arthroplasty. I don't even know what that is. Arthroplasty. What? Third time I've looked up about this so bad. No, I don't feel guilty for not knowing freaking arthroplasty. The surgical reconstruction or replacement of a joint. Oh, interesting. This is cool. Purpose. I want to see, like, pain perception. No, I want it functionality. I want them to be able to, like, move quicker or stuff. Dang it, it's just freaking pain. Alright, methods, 43 patients, randomized in a Reiki and non-Reiki, unilateral TKA, whatever that is. Probably like surgery, total knee arthroplasty, following Reiki sessions. Okay, so it was after the Reiki. Interesting. So pain was assessed before and after Reiki therapy using blah 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 on each of three. Okay, then they kept doing it afterward. Questionnaire results: all Reiki therapy sessions resulted in statistically significant reductions in pain, except those sessions in the PACU. What the heck is PACU? Where does it say PACU? Post-anesthesia care unit. Interesting. Okay, so if you just got anesthesia and you're coming out and you're super drugged up, you don't have statistically significant reductions in pain from Reiki. Huh, that's interesting. If you're super drugged, won't be super helpful. So that's cool. Let's like make note of this because it's just sort of a curious thing that's kind of fun. The results, they're saying it works unless you are in the just got a bunch of drugs. No statistically significant differences were found in pain medication use, though. So they were still going for the pain. I'm calling that placebo. At least you could chalk up placebo to part of it. Like, they say, yeah, it helped, but then they took the same amount of pain meds. I'm going to be negative Nancy and call this one negative just for fun. Although, dudes, I wish they would control for the placebo somehow. I gotta stop saying control, because control group is a specific thing of, like, not getting Reiki. And then you want three groups. You want the control, you want the placebo, and then the Reiki, the actual Reiki. So you want control, sham Reiki, or what we saw in the last one where you had, like, someone over the babies doing, gesticulations and stuff. Kind of like the beekeeping. So this didn't have, I can't call it negative because we can't say for sure if they had controlled for placebo. If they hadn't accounted, for placebo, that we would say that it was all just placebo. I can't just make this assumption, but this is big for me. No statistically significant differences were found in pain medication use. Okay, I'm going to write this down. At the very least, we'll call this insufficient. Oh, please tell me. Okay, cool. Did I have 383? Did I copy that? Why am I getting delusional? I'm almost to the 12 mark. Do we have 12? 9, 12. We have 12. I'm just going to, like, copy this. Okay. We had 43 patients, super knee reconstruction. You know what? Just let's not. What have I done here? Let's just word it on our own here, just because it helps. With what we've read, at least for me anyway. 43 patients, super knee reconstruction. No accounting for placebo. Finally, I didn't call it controlling. No accounting for placebo. Reiki was found to decrease pain in every scenario except for the PACU. What was some of the post anesthesia care unit? Let's copy that just for because it's actually quicker. I should do kind of fun. Okay, can I get it? Yes! Woo! Okay. So if you just got all drugged up, you ain't gonna feel any better. No Reiki stuffs. And then, however, exclamation point, peeps done took same amount of pain meds. This is really bad. I should probably get off the southern accent while I type. Alright, peeps still took, let's use the word the the same amount of pain meds. Anywho, even after Reiki. Well, I shouldn't say how much. We don't know how much Reiki they got. We didn't really pay enough attention. All right, let's make sure. Okay, all right, that's 12. I'm actually stopping for real this time. If anyone wants me to email you this document from our amateur review of the literature, I kind of want to look up real quick Reiki hoax. Let's see if someone says that Reiki is a hoax. A little too much of the Buchenwald touch. Military radiation research at the University of... yeah, this is not... They didn't even give me a list of results. Yeah, not super interested in this thing from 98 that's not even talking about Reiki. Maybe it does in the full text. Reiki, I can't say Reiki sham because there really is Reiki sham Reiki stuff that they're using for placebo. Reiki, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to go out of my way to find negative results. We didn't find them. We got 3 insufficient ones. We got a negative Nancy dude. We got one where they didn't have statistically significant results, even though they had clinically positive results. Yeah, just to go back over these 3. I'm just going to click them up. We have Sanchez Dominguez here saying, oh, we already had it open here. The gift of the application of, yeah, we already have it open here. And then we had the one where it's clinically positive, but not statistically significant. Then the one where it's like reduced pain for the Helen knee surgery in every case except for when you just got all drugged up, except you still took the same amount of pain meds. So these are the 3. None of them are saying it doesn't freaking work, right? This guy's saying, I'm a negative Nancy. I apparently missed the study with 256 patients and a placebo, finding 3 times less haloperidol in the intervention group versus the placebo group. When did I publish this? June of 2016? I'm on you, buddy. When was this published? You better hope it was like later. Or I'm calling you a negative Nancy. June of 2016, he published that stuff. To be fair, when they... Alright, this is like pretty close. You probably didn't know about it when this was published. This is a big deal. This is recent. This one's a big deal that we talked about. The babies. So we had that guy, not saying it actually didn't happen, right? Cross it out. There's no like negative there. This is just saying, you know, this was the one. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to reiterate for anyone who's still skeptical. Like, come on, dude. We just did a little like review of the literature. This one's saying, sorry we didn't get the full text, but we got a good enough idea. This one's saying, yeah, I still haven't looked at the numbers. I still haven't read the entire thing. Of the comparison group, 6 patients reported feeling better and 8 felt worse. What? The Reiki practice, what? This looks weird. 36 patients before and after their treatment. And also 14 patients who did not receive Reiki practiced as a comparison group. Oh, of the comparison group, 6 reported feeling better and 8 felt worse. So among 36 who received 5 Reiki sessions, 21 of them, almost 2/3, reported feeling better. 12 felt worse. So 2/3, almost 2/3 felt better. 21 out of 36. So 22 out of 36 would be, 24 out of 36 would be 2/3. So, and then here we have 6 out of, how many was it? 14? So less than half. Almost 2/3 feeling better in the Reiki group versus less than half of patients in the comparison group not getting Reiki feeling better. So they say like, yeah, the Reiki practice delivered as part of blah, 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 did produce clinically significant effects. Like, to their eyes, from like, as a, you know, within the ideas of just like trying to help people, it was helpful. But as far as the stats, not statistically significant. So we're definitely not, I feel like insufficient is almost like unfair. Because there's like a difference. But anyway, and then the last but not least, we had this one where they're saying it helped, and then we put it as a negative Nancy, being like a little, perhaps overly skeptical. Like I don't think the researchers would have put that one in insufficient. Maybe, yeah, they're going for statistically significant, to be fair. That one belongs there. But then this one, they're saying it helped, unless you just came out of the post-anesthesia care unit, or if you're in the post-anesthesia care unit. So if you're post-anesthesia, it's not going to help. Otherwise, it helps, and you're still going to take the same amount of pain meds, though. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead, leave it there. 9 positive, 3 insufficient, no negative. All right, resaving. If you want this, email me. So yeah, as far as empirical spirituality goes, this is empirical spirituality in a nutshell. I mean, it's one tiny little, aspect of what I'm interested in, but in what there could potentially be out there. But I feel like it's a good start. Establishing that Reiki is real is a lot to bite off, And if you've watched this far, thank you. And now I have to figure out how to stop this. And I'm just going to go to QuickTime Media Player and quit it. And then hopefully, goodbye. Come. Come.